Hello, everyone, and welcome to another product update webinar, this time mid-year. Very hot Europe, June, the month of June, a very hot one. And I hope you're staying cool and in a nice environment, cozy environment to follow the mid-year product updates from our product management team. I'm Magdalena, the product marketing manager at WoodWing, and I will be moderating the webinar today. And it's a great pleasure to introduce our speakers for today. We start with Tom Peisel, our VP of Product Management at WoodWing, who is going to showcase and wrap up the product roadmap, summary, and fill you in on the latest WoodWing Studio feature releases and updates. Then we have our product manager for WoodWing Assets, 6 and 10, Jouke Jongsma. After Jouke, we're going to have Jeff Gap on stage talking about the WoodWing Connect and the PDF Manager. Jeff from our US offices. And then last but not least, we have Paul Walker from the UK joining us, our development manager for WoodWing Connect, who's going to showcase what's the latest updates with the workflow assistant and the content delivery hub. At the end, we always have time to answer any questions that you might have throughout the session, of course. You can always use the right side panel chat function to message us throughout the webinar. And as I said, we always save a couple of minutes at the end to make sure we answer all of your questions. As I said, a quick overview of the agenda. We're going to see the overview of the product roadmap for the year, then WoodWing Studio, WoodWing Assets version 6 and 10, what were the latest releases for the first half of the year. And then we continue with the WoodWing Connect and the WoodWing Apps. So, before further ado, I'd like to introduce Tom Peisel to the stage. Thank you, Tom, to showcase you the roadmap details.
Thank you, Magdalena. And let me walk you through the roadmap. So this is a recap from the previous webinar. So for assets, the main focus is on Assets 10. So integrating Assets 10 with Studio so that you can drag and drop files to Studio, that you can archive files from Studio to Assets 10. But we are going to do more things like a native trash scan in Assets 10, API improvements are all on the list. Next to that, we are working on a redesign of the Assets 10 portals feature, or an enhancement of the Assets 10 portals feature, which will give you tighter control over sharing and accessibility, download options, and metadata management and filtering. Then, of course, what's very important is that a smoothless transition from Assets 6 with or without Studio to Assets 10. So we are working on migration tooling to support you in that migration. And lastly, AI-powered search. So we are further exploring the possibilities of AI-powered search. So we already have several technology previews available, but this year is really focused on finding a cost-efficient way to offer AI-powered search to you. Then for Studio, main focus is also the Assets 10 integration. So from the Studio side, teams are working closely together to bring this to the market. Next to that, we're working on two other things: AI layout automation. We have more slides on that later in the deck. And the first half of the year, we focused primarily on newspapers, but in the second half, we also shift our focus to magazine production. Next to that, we are working on AI for content editors, both in the digital and the print editor. Also, more on that later in the presentation. And lastly, WoodWing Connect. So we're focusing on the Connect core. So these are the connectors, the Studio and the Assets connector in Workato. We are consolidating integrations bringing them together on a central place so that we can upgrade them more easily and bring them to you faster and expand the feature set. And that also ties into the last point. We are expanding the feature sets of the WoodWing apps, being the PDF manager, the workflow assistant, and the content delivery hub. But more on that later. So for now, let me hand you over to Jouko for the update on WoodWing Assets 6 and Assets 10.
Thank you, Tom. So, good afternoon. I would like to go over some key updates we have made to our assets product since the start of this year. So let's start with assets version 6. So our focus is on overall platform stability and optimizing our infrastructure performance. So this isn't a one-off project, but a continuous effort that will be ongoing throughout this entire year. So what have we been able to deliver this year? So if we look back at the past 6 months, so we have already made some great progress. So we have focused heavily on 2 main areas. So the self-service and the UI modernization. So to make the user experience more intuitive, and we have successfully implemented system optimization, which lay the foundation for what is coming next. So in a release planned for August this year. So we will focus on reducing the backend and the Elasticsearch load by introducing smarter pagination and also more efficient query logic across the key areas like linked files panel. So we are replacing heavy single requests. So currently a request is coming with 10, for example, 1,000 items. And now we will, with an infinite scroll, load only 50 items at a time. In the history panel, we switch from fetching the entire history at once to a scroll-based pagination of 50 records per page. And also for the pin collection, we introduced query optimization to improve the responsiveness. We improved the management console to make the daily admin of users and easier. So filters now stay applied even when a new user is created. Group selection will remain stable during the renames, and we now support full plus. We now support plus symbols in the email address. And finally, that's a nice big improvement is that we now allow update 5 gigabytes, of a single file upload to our product for our cloud users. And this can be done. We make now use of the multipart and the S3 uploads. So for Asset 10, our core team is on the DEM consolidation. That's a full focus, and also on the AI improvement. So if we look back in the past 6 months, we have introduced the front-end integration, which is enabling panel and action plugins. In a demo video, I will show 2 nice examples. So we have worked on the migration tooling. So that's a huge step towards from the migration from Asset 6 to Asset 10. And we introduced some new AI features. So these are the first steps to full natural language and visual similarity search. So what's next? So of course, also as Tom mentioned, focus is on the Asset 10 Studio integration. And with this, we will also introduce 2 other DEM consolidation features like the linking of file and also the metadata flags in the UI. These are part of the Assets Studio integration. Also the native trash scan and, as Tom mentioned, the improved portals. So let me zoom in a bit on the AI improvements. We already have AI auto tagging, but we have now enabled contextual description and alt text descriptions to the files. Asset now generates rich and descriptive sentences of images and also an alt text of an image. We have also released audio and video transcriptions, including subtitles, and Assets now automatically generates the whole text transcripts and also a subtitle, and that's put in the metadata field. So now this all can be a search, and if there's a keyword match, then the results of the audio, of the video files are shown up in the results. To make, for all those AI features, we have now also a dedicated AI metadata category, and more features will follow. The features are now available for demo, and we are now investigating the correct commercial model. Let's play a short video. And in this video, I will show two examples of nice front-end integration to show you what's possible with the front-end integration, and also show you how the AI capabilities are now added to the product. So I will show you the rich text and also how the audio and video transcripts work. Video. There we go.
Organize, manage, and share their digital files efficiently. And this integration in particular allows for sales reps to browse, search,
Today, I'm thrilled to unveil our completely reimagined WoodWing Assets version 10, a feature-rich and intuitive digital asset management solution
So those are some nice examples of what's possible with the front-end integration. So putting an image on a map or connecting with a content delivery network. And you have seen the few examples of the AI powered search and the first step towards a full vector natural language search. So more on that in the future. Over to Jeff, who WoodWing Connect.
No, it's actually to me.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Everybody welcome Tom Paz.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, so let me give you an update on WoodWing Studio. So apart from the AI assistant and layout automation, we've been working, of course, on adding support for InDesign in Copy 2026, and also did maintenance on or upgraded to the latest or the next PHP version, which is PHP 8.4. For the AI assistant, we added the capabilities to create custom prompts. So as an admin, you can now configure prompts, a detailed explanation of suggested changes, and replace text. But it's better to show that live, so we created a video. Let me play the video to show you the latest.
Hello everyone, we're going to be taking a look at how you can optimize your digital articles using the AI Assistant in the Digital Editor Studio. This feature is designed to help reduce repetitive editorial work while keeping you firmly in control of the final story. When writing articles, a lot of time can be spent on tasks like refining tone or coming up with strong titles. The AI Assistant helps streamline this process by offering built-in suggestions directly inside of Studio. It's designed to improve efficiency without sacrificing quality. On the right side of the digital editor, I will select the AI Assistant icon to open the AI Assistant panel. The panel opens alongside my article so I can review suggestions without ever leaving the editor. At the top of the panel, I see the question, "How can I help you today?" From here, I can choose from a set of predefined actions. For example, I can ask the AI assistant to shorten or lengthen the text, revise the tone, or suggest new titles. Let's start with that action. While the AI is processing, it is good to mention that your administrator can freely configure more actions using the Studio Management Console. The generated answers appear in the response bubble below your question. This layout makes it easy to see exactly what was requested and what was returned. You can also refine the generated answer or ask a different question through the import box at the bottom of the panel. Let's, for example, ask for a new intro. I can now copy the intro and use it in my article. Now let's have a look at a more complex scenario. Ask, for example, to copy-edit my story. This action will evaluate the article and give me advice in how to improve the article. And finally, let's use the translate option. The translate option is similar to changing the tone of voice, shortening, lengthening, or any other rewrite. So with one click of a button, we can replace all the text in the article by the new generated text. Thank you for your attention.
Yes, so the digital editor AI assistant is available for ultimate customers in the WoodWing Cloud, and we are now continuing with adding support for the print editor. So this is coming later this summer, also then with a dedicated copy fit or text copy fit action. We are also investigating if we can make the same functionality available in InCopy, but more on that in later webinars. Then let's move over to WoodWing Layout Automation. The layout automation combines your historical design expertise with AI intelligence to generate layout suggestions that save hours of repetitive work, while ensuring that the page is fully editable in InDesign, and that you can also mix and match so that you can combine layout automated workflows together with creative workflows in one issue. It ensures brand consistency and speeds up the publishing process. Before showing you what we've added in the last months, let me show you a quick refresher video of the capabilities of layout automation.
Hi, in this video we would like to show you AI layout automation in action. As you can see, your page planning solution has created the empty pages in WoodWing Studio and already placed the sold ads. The next step is that we're going to place the stories on the page using the layout automation dialog. In the bottom we see a list of all the stories which have been written for this issue and category. And here on the top we see how the algorithm is laying out the articles over the different pages. As a user, I can now make some tweaks to the design, for example by changing the story type from a lead into a secondary story, or by changing the page number. So let's change the page number for this story to page 3. When I click Update, we see that the story is now placed on page 3. Whether something is a secondary or a lead story is a creative decision. It is not only based on the number of characters. You could, for example, have a small story with a large image being the lead story. When you are happy with the result, you can hit the Compose Pages button. The design is then sent to InDesign server and the stories are placed on the page. This takes a moment. We can now use the existing process to finish up the layout. For example, preview the layout and open one of the stories in InCopy or in the print editor. You can also finish the design in InDesign. Thank you for watching.
Yes, let me now walk you through the features that we've added recently to layout automation. So the first one is the ability to filter layouts and articles. So for example, you want to limit the set of articles that you would like to place based on a certain metadata field. You can do this with a custom query. So as a user, you can create your own custom query and use that to filter the list of articles. Next to that, we've added options to take already placed articles into account. This way you can mix and match. For example, you have a page with a column which is already placed on the page. You already know that it is, so that's more or less a fixed part of the page. And you have a more creative or a layout automation side, which will fill in the rest. So the nice pin icon now shows you that this article is already placed and that the rest of the content is placed around this article. Then what we saw while using the feature in production is that the decision to make something a spread or a single page is often done during the production cycle and not in the planning phase. So as a user, you needed the option to toggle between a spread or a single page and use 2 single pages for a spread. So also this is now possible. And lastly, we added placement presets. So as an administrator, you can create multiple placement presets, and with that you can steer the algorithm into a different direction. So let's say that you're in the beginning of the production cycle and you want to place as much of the articles as possible, then you optimize for more articles instead of fitting. While if you're at the end of the production cycle and close to the deadline, you might want to select a preset that ensures that all the articles nicely fit on the page. That in the end is a decision that you can make as a user. So in the UI, you can select the preset that you would like to use, and then the plan is regenerated. Next, so next to the text copy fitting that we're working on, we're also working on layout fitting. So there are basically 3 ways to copy fit your story. So you can fit by changing the length of the text. You can change by changing the paragraph style, select a different paragraph style. And with layout fitting, we're going to make changes to the dimensions of the frame. So we're not making any changes to the text here. So that also means that you don't have to review it. It's all smart layout optimization. So this is now also available, and it works as follows. This is part of the AI layout automation package. So here we see a page generated by layout automation. You can right-click on one of the frames of the story and select Fit Article with AI Creative. We will then send the composition to AI, and AI will actually enhance the composition to ensure that the text fits. And when the result is there, your design is updated. While AI is working on this article, you can freely work on any article on the page or work on another layout, so you don't have to wait for the AI to respond. And with that, let me hand you over to this time Jeff for WoodWing Connect.
Very good. Thank you, Tom. So WoodWing Connect, as everybody knows, hopefully, WoodWing Connect's an umbrella term that we use for covering the integrations that we build, some of the applications we build, APIs, the iPaaS tools, webhooks, et cetera, et cetera. We've been pretty active when it comes to what we call the core, Studio Core here. And so we've been working with PDF Manager. We're going to see a demonstration of this in a moment, but that includes a tool that is getting pretty close to maturation, right? It's the customer input plus our original ideas have really gotten us pretty far here. But we continue to add to and evolve the tools with new capabilities and refinements. Out on our Help Center, we've got a PDF Manager introduction. So if you're interested in that, you can find that out in our Help Center. That's publicly available. One of the things that we've really been working on within Connect is what we call PDF Dialogue. What PDF Dialogue is essentially this ability within Publication Overview to generate PDFs in a variety of ways. So they might be low res, they might be high res, they might be spreads, they might not be spreads, and they can be also include individual pages, page ranges, sections of pages, and so on. So it's a pretty nice little dialogue of things that we do within PDF Dialogue. Connect API Proxy. Connect API Proxy is a secure way of being able to communicate from Studio to some endpoints. And there's a variety of ways of validating that communication, whether that's an API key or some other kind of mechanism, right? It allows us to be able to send an API key to an endpoint so that your information is secure passing over. Connect webhooks and the Workato connectors. The Studio connector now supports the Studio Planning API. So that enables customers without a planning system to feed, say, an Excel document or a Google Sheets document into the process and then generate planned pages directly through the Workato connector. So that's pretty cool, and we're pretty proud of that one. With Studio, we're working on a feature here called updating metadata of locked objects. That feature is in progress, and it's also a feature that has extensive interest from the integration ecosystem, right? This is basically the ability to track outside work, such as you send a layout out for something, whatever it may be, translation, and then you can get that back and get an update from the system that tells you where that is. So while other people are working on that file. So that's the work we've been doing here with WoodWing Connect, and specifically around Studio and the iPaaS solution. And as a reminder, we also have the pre-built integrations, and we put some more technology partnerships out there. The pre-built integrations that you see here are essentially categories, right? So that you can go ahead and browse through the categories if you go to the link at the bottom of the slide. And then we have technology partnerships. So we're asking partners or technology folks to come in and provide solutions that they've generated. So one of our partners in EMEA, of course, at ANF, Almendo, Tanza, Smartian, Brickswire, Contextual, all of those have listings out in the integration marketplace for you to take a look at and see. Now, what we'll probably end up doing here is talking a little bit about, well, I'm just going to go ahead and move on, and I'm going to ask Paul Walker to step in and do his part of the presentation. Paul.
There is a next slide with PDF Manager, which is yours. I don't know if you want to cover that.
Oh, I will. I'll take a look at that. So sorry about that, Paul. Brought you in early. PDF Manager, right? So workflow based, generates files, generates PDF files. The name's a little less descriptive than the actual functionality. So workflow or metadata to generate files, multiple ways of doing this. And what I'm going to do is show a quick video here, and we'll go ahead and go over to the video and PDF Manager.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Gapp, and I am the product manager for WoodWing Connect. Today, what we're here to talk about is PDF Manager. Its capability is to generate PDFs, deliver PDFs, and of course, it has other capabilities such as packaging files, which we'll briefly talk about. We're also going to take a quick look at Connect API Proxy, which is a way to build out integrations safely using Studio technology. So in this first example, what we have here is the Studio web client, and we're seeing that we have an InDesign file here. If you look on the right-hand side, you can see here that we have a status, and down farther below, we also have a create multi-page PDF. The idea here is that as a business, you may decide that you want to use the statuses to trigger the operations within Studio. So if we were to select generate PDF, that would trigger the PDF process, and we would be off and running. Now, if the PDF process is successful, then the status will be set to done. If the PDF, for instance, doesn't pass a pre-flight, then we might get to PDF gen failed, and then we would get back the information from the PDF pre-flight telling us maybe that we're missing fonts or we're missing images or whatever that may be. Now, another way of generating a PDF file is to use metadata. Now, you could choose any metadata file that you want. You can also use metadata to dictate some kind of operation within the PDF process. So in this case, if we were to say create multi-page PDF, what we would get out of the process is a single PDF containing multiple pages from the layout. Okay, so in this case, what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and just say generate PDF. And that kicks off the process that will end up in the creation of the PDF. Now, keep in mind that the delivery of PDFs could be that a PDF is going to Assets. It could be that it comes back into Studio. It could be that it gets delivered to an AWS 3 bucket or something else, whatever that else might be. So in this case, if we come over here and we look at Assets, what we end up seeing is our PDF. Notice that it is also generating versions of the PDF. So we have the versions that have been created. That's a feature you can turn off if you only want one version, or you can say, hey, I want multiple versions, but have them visible within assets. In this case, we're using the version history. You can see here the brief. This is a PDF that was generated where it's one PDF per page. So here we have page 9, 10, and 11 of this layout available to us to review. Now, PDF Manager is not just restricted to making PDFs. It can create packages of files. It can export JPEGs and PNGs. There's a wide variety of other functionality. You can see actually it just updated to version 4 here of this file. So if we look up here, what we end up seeing is that here is our package for that particular file. And you can see it's also now at version 4. So we can download this and give this to somebody. So that's PDF Manager being triggered from the Studio Web Client interface. You can also use a tool here within Publication Overview. We call it PDF Dialog. And so here is our issue display. And if we bring up the PDF dialog, we see Generate PDF Files. And you have this UI in front of you. Now we've made changes based on customer requirements to the UI. Some customers want to email the PDF to either somebody within the company, maybe a marketing department or a law group, or they want to email it to somebody outside the company. Now, if they don't want this, we can turn that off and we can work to the requirements that you have, such as putting the files back into Studio, and we'll see that in a moment. Here we have a spread section that'll generate spreads. If it's turned off as it is now, it will be individual pages within your PDF. And here you can select page ranges. In this case, there's no section within this example. If there were, you would see them listed along with the number of pages that are represented in each of those sections. So in here we can say, page 1 to 18, maybe we only want 1 to 5, etc., etc. Now, if we hit submit, we would generate our PDF file. And if we come back to the issue that we have here, we see our issue PDF. And then in this case, here's our file. Again, multiple ways that customers have decided to put these PDF files back into Studio, as well as putting them into Assets. Now, some really nice things about PDF Manager as far as troubleshooting. Let's say you get an error, the error comes back and shows you that which fonts are missing, et cetera, et cetera. That's part of the error logging. There's also a slightly deeper model where we can come in here and actually get to the log. We see the exact step-by-step action that's being taken by InDesign Server to generate your PDF files. Now, there's one other feature within Studio that we've recently updated, and that's called the Connect API proxy. Here it is. This is the proxy. And the features of that tool are available here in integrations. And the whole idea here is that if you want to communicate with an endpoint securely, you can do that by using API proxy from Studio to pass through the message, and then it will pass it to the endpoint. And it does this by allowing you to set different kinds of values for the communication out of Studio, such as the bearer token, the custom headers, right, and API keys, which can then be validated on the other side, and you have a secure connection to your endpoint. All right, that's all I've got today for both PDF Manager and the Connect API proxy. Thank you for taking time to listen, and please reach out if you have any questions. Thanks again.
Well, very good. So again, as we continue to work on the tool, if you have any questions, concerns, you want to see a demonstration, please reach out. I'd love to talk more about PDF Manager. I'm going to go ahead and now this time, I'm going to turn it over to Paul. Paul?
Thank you, Jeff. That was good. Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Walker. So I'm the product manager of the WoodWing Connect apps. So one of which is Workflow Assistant. And within this, one of the key things that we kind of want to kind of talk to you about is the guardrails that we placed on this. So to remind everybody of what the Workflow Assistant is. So the whole point of this is to bring a workflow to your users, but in a very role-based, easily digestible form that reduces error, that reduces the need for training, takes your potentially complicated business rules, simplifies it down for them, still leaves the business rules there, but gives your users a chance to work with assets in a very kind of easy to understand way. One of the things that we've kind of recently released is there's a whole set of help files. So there's a QR code there for you to use, and please go ahead and kind of use that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the first demo. This is kind of two parts. So first of all, we're going to go into the guardrails that we've just been putting into assets, so into the workflow assistant for assets, and also kind of give you a sneak peek of what's coming later on in this year, which is a new chat facility to help you configure the system. So I'll get this video underway. Speak to you soon.
Hi, this is giving you a sneak peek at what we have to come in Workflow Assistant 2.0.7. So we're preparing a demo suite of which everybody will kind of have access to, so you can use this to kind of check out the features, how all the fields work in hover state, disable states. And what I wanted to kind of show you today is the guardrails. So for example, we have the required state, where this is just a global, you can set a required state on a field. Now, here through this demo suite, we have the notifications, and the notifications will guide you through, here's the action, here's what we want you to do, and also an additional guardrail. So, for example, this one has a Lucene query base on it, select an asset to proceed to 3.2, 3.3. So this is this particular test. And as soon as we select something, you'll notice that message disappears, and we now have the rules of 3.2, 3.3, and I can unselect an asset. So this just kind of demonstrates how you can use the workflow assistant to control and constrain the users and make sure they have guidance every step of the way. You're here and we need you to do this, or you're here, there's some problems, we need you to solve them. And here, so we introduced a few versions ago required fields. So you can see that this field here is required. And as soon as I type in something, well, there you go, that's committed and this is no longer required. Now, what we also have is, if I look further on, the required condition. So if I look at the required condition, so in this particular instance here, none of these fields are required, but what we've done is, again, just to kind of demonstrate this, is we use the field used. It's just a handy field to use, and based on whether it's blank, true, or false, can change the requirement of these particular fields. So you would use this in an image asset that has a title and a description and is in a published state. This is also required. I want these to be filled in as well. So, and it's Lucene query. So whatever you can then create with a Lucene query, you can add this to granularly control the requirement of fields. So here, if I just set this to true, we can see that all of these are forced. And this is just simply based on a very simple Lucene query of used for this here. And of course, if I get rid of this, this is also still required. But equally, what we can also do is pattern matching. So for example, here, I can enter this and I can press numbers and nothing's happening because this particular field, though it's a text field, the message we've given is 3 to 6 letters allowed only. So only when I type in letters and I hit that golden space between 3 and 6 does it then say yes. And of course, this is driven by regex. So you can craft a regex to meet your needs for not only making sure a field is required, but also the shape of data that you need inside here. I could go on further on the various different things here, but what we've also done is we've added much more
into the reporting. So for example, if I want to run a report action here, there's a lot more messaging that we've done. So searches, and it tells you exactly the fields that it's going to report on. So this is the kind of pre-scripted reports that you have control over what fields you're going to list. Through down to on the metadata stamp. If you click on the metadata stamp, we see that that was successful. And if it wasn't successful, you get an error. So again, giving the user as much feedback as possible. Grouping assets has gone through a little overhaul as well. In grouping assets, you can now add any number of fields into this area here. Rich text used to be a standard. Now it's also optionable. And so you can craft this, group a number of assets together. And then also if you want to select the lead asset, so there can be a number of these. And this, in this particular instance, it's dropped into the container key field, which kind of goes with the asset 6. So those are a few kind of interesting points. Let me show you something else. We're also bringing AI into the workflow assistant. So here in the configurator, we have a prompt ready to go. And this is, I want to add some notifications onto this new section I have here. So I've just asked it, it's proposing the changes. You can apply the changes. And there we have 2 notifications. And now in the front end, if we flip between the two, this is based on status. So as the status changes, so like we have the contextual, each different notification appears. Equally, we can add buttons. So drop downs. So here now we're just going to add a quick drop down. And we're going to give this 2 fields. And the idea behind this is to make what we've just done, asset defined, asset complete, and that we can set this through the front end as well. So this is just kind of showing how what we're bringing. So this is not coming out in 2.0.7. It'll be available in 2.0.8 in August. Okay, guys, so that kind of give you a few things of what we're doing kind of currently over the next couple of months on Workflow Assistant. What I'm going to do now is to kind of just give you a talk about the Content Delivery Hub. So for those that know, this is our multi-channel article transformation, enrichment, and delivery service. So take an article from anywhere, process it, enrich it with assets, bring them in from WoodWing Assets, bring in data from somewhere else, transform it, and then deliver it to the CMS or the web channel of your needs. And we've gone through a bit of an overhaul on this one. So what we've done now is we've brought together a kind of a new interface. So much easier to configure, join the dots together. And also, again, a big key feature in this is guardrails. Before I show you a kind of a little video on some of the guardrails that we've got to make sure that configuring this and using this is much easier than it was in the past, we also have an interchange format. So one of the key things is, with a kind of a growing estate of, yes, we can go from print to digital, we can go from print to WordPress, WordPress back into digital. Every time you do that, there are requirements from various customers to go, well, actually, can I also have this? So we've built an interchange format that everything passes through. And this enables us that as soon as we have another service that we need to hook into, it kind of belongs as part of the kind of the suite. So if we have a new CMS, we need to connect to it. As soon as we've done that connector, which tends to be really, really quick these days, you then get access to all the other formats immediately. So then you can kind of go try new different formats that you've kind of got. So we've kind of got that on the way. We're going to do a quick video on kind of how you might kind of use this. And again, it's just kind of a sneak peek. This is coming out in the autumn for you to use. But again, just wanted to show you the kind of things that we're doing. And the key thing is, adding guardrails to what you do, making sure that things are less error prone. And in this case, this is kind of yourself, if you're configuring this, how you can make sure that your config, which could be quite complicated, can work. So I'll just get this video going. See you soon.
So I'm going to give you a sneak peek at some really big changes coming to CDH. So there is a brand new interface, very WYSIWYG, so less JSON config orientated. And in doing this, this helps you connect to a studio, define your channels that you're going to export on, and also script more your transformations, and done so in a WYSIWYG interface. So here we're just setting up a kind of a quick basic flow. So if we just kind of go through, so it's a full wizard now rather than kind of say JSON configs. And then inside here, we have a workspace in which we can create the flow. Now, we're just going to do a kind of a quick digital to an S3, for example, in this particular instance. So here, we've dropped in the S3. We're going to connect the output to the S3, but already you can see that there is an error. And that error, we can go now to a new AI chat assistant, which is the same one you recently saw in the workflow assistant, and actually interrogate and say, well, does my config work? If it doesn't, why doesn't it work? And it can give you a hint as to why. In this particular instance, it's a really simple one. Add a valid bucket name. So here, so I can go through and I can find the S3 settings. I can alter the bucket name, put the right one in, connect that up. And then when I press save, you'll see the red box change to a lovely green. Complete. So this is how we're kind of now a really big change in being able to create this multi-channel delivery really quickly using this interface. Now, what's more, also from the same interface, you can check executions. So as you've got your flow, so here's another one, for example, and there's two particular kind of flows that it goes through, you can actually spot each individual execution where, for example, in that one, it skipped a particular piece. There's no valid reason for skipped a piece. But you can also look at fails. So why did a very particular execution fail? And again, you can bring in the AI assistant. You can take a look at that, and this will give you a clue as to why this failed. And in this particular instance, it's also a config error. So those are the really exciting things for CDH. It's coming later this year. Thank you.
Thank you guys. That was a little kind of short there. So that kind of gives you just a flavor of some of the things we're developing on those apps. And I think now back to Tom.
Thank you so much. It's actually back to me before we wrap up with the Q. Thank you, Paul, Jeff, Jouke, and Tom for presenting and making sure our customers, partners, prospects, and whoever is, of course, joining this webinar stay up to date with what has been going on with the Assets Studio and Connect portfolio. Now, this is a different topic that I would like to mention, and this is in regards to how search has changed. So nearly 60% of searches now end up without a click. And this is something that I'd like to push forward and promote. This is our latest report that we have launched in association with Media Voices. And interesting is that you can actually access the report by clicking the button that is shown in the center of your screens. And yes, it's a report that shows what that means, what this shift or zero-click shift means for you and your content strategy, and how to stay visible in an AI-first world. So without further ado, you can access the report, as I said, by clicking the link, or after we wrap up the webinar, you can also access the page to fill in your details and access the report again. So looking at the time, we have a little less than 5 minutes left, I think. We did have quite a lot of updates in regards to all the features that we've launched and all the in progress functionalities that are cooking in the development kitchen. So I'm just taking a look at the chat function, and I unfortunately cannot see any questions from you. Again, I'll leave you a minute to think about it. What was shown? What are your interests? Are you interested in any of the WoodWing apps? So the Content Delivery Hub, the PDF Manager, or the Workflow Assistant for WoodWing Assets users. And of course, if these demos that were shown were non-clear, or you would like to get a bit more use case specific demo, you can always feel free to reach out to us via the contact form on the woodwing.com website. And our product managers, professional services team of consultants will make sure that they schedule something with you or your team to and follow up, of course, on the use cases that you're specifically interested in to see these WoodWing applications in action. Yes, it is what it is. We don't have any questions, even within the last minute. So I do hope that this was a clear mid-year update for you all. And I'm looking forward to see you again beginning of next year, 2027, when we will kickstart the year like we did this year, of course. And our product management team will again come on stage and showcase the product roadmap, the plans for the year, but also do a recap on what has been and what will be launched in the second half of 2026. Again, a big thank you for your time today. I do hope you're staying away from the heat. And yes, Tom, any final words from your side?
No, I want to thank everyone for their attention. And as you already mentioned, if there's any follow-up question, don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Yes, you can always, as I said, fill in the contact form on the woodwing.com website, and you will be followed up by one of our team members. Again, thank you all. Wishing you a lovely evening or rest of the day if you're joining us from the US. And yes, see you soon.